I'd say two different methods based on which audience you want to keep engaged. Because if you see again your viewers, most of the times the majority of viewers on each single video are new viewers that are seeing your video for the very first time or have come across your account for the very first time. And these should be viewers that are engaged in a different way than your community, because those that already maybe follow you, maybe not, but encounter your videos often. So for the new viewers, I believe in a way you should behave with topics, choosing the right topics that maybe are trending in your region, trending on TikTok itself, big current affairs, politics, newsy topics, depending also on maybe your own themes and your publications landscape, so that you can find more and more and more new viewers.
Hello and welcome to Fix Ad, a podcast by the Fix Media, where we unpack media insights, strategy, and innovation. I am Anastasia Kuzmenko, and I will be your host today.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Fix Ad, and today we're going to talk about TikTok, specifically how to engage audience on TikTok for news publishers and also build loyal readers there. At the Fix, we compile annually list of top European news publishers on TikTok with some insights on emerging trends, and this year's ranking is already out, so please don't miss that. We're having Erika Marzano with us today, who is a TikTok lead and audience development manager at Deutsche Welle. Hi, Erika.
Hello everyone.
We're very happy to have you here, and thank you so much for joining our conversation. The first question we wanted to ask is actually something that interests us a lot, which is what are your favorite news publishers right now on TikTok, except of Deutsche Welle?
Okay, that's a good exception that you made there, because I cannot choose among our own, and it wouldn't be fair. And also we have 37, so a lot of children in brackets to choose from. But there's a good question. So I have to say that I'm still very into the traditional media, in a sense that they still have very classic explainers. I don't know, I would say BBC News, Sky News, and so on and so forth. But I also particularly like one like Guardian Australia, who can really combine more classic social media video journalism, so the journalism we used to see at the very beginning of social media, or rather of video on social media, so not the early stages, with more creator-like content. So personalities on screen, some humor when the topic allows, and some engagement with the audience back and forth.
I should definitely check out their TikTok after our conversation. Also, we wanted to ask you about metrics. What would you say are the most important metrics right now for TikTok growth?
So first of all, I would make a distinction between metrics that maybe single media or journalists decide for themselves, because maybe they are important internally. And I'm thinking of more classic metrics that you would see also publicly, like the views and engagement rate. With the distinction, views themselves within the TikTok environment are also very connected to how the algorithm works. So the one that publishes videos themselves might not 100% always control how the views would work, if the performance is high or low. It fluctuates, and also depends on the audience, whether they connect with the video, with the topic, with the way it is explained, with the format. And engagement rate is the percentage of any type of engagement and interaction, like comments, shares, likes, in comparison to the all views. This, I would say, still is something you can control, or rather you can actively act, like with call to actions, with community management, with some hooks that keep people engaged, in a way that you really understand, okay, my video has reached its audience in terms of views. Can I keep these viewers and make them interact with my video, and not just have this neutral relationship that it's very I put out a video and then there's no feedback, or we don't get the feedback. But then Other than your own internal metrics that you might have and might want to check, one very important one for the sake of TikTok is the percentage of watched full video, which is a metric within the TikTok analytics themselves. Specifically, each video has this metric, so there is no channel level, although of course with maths you can do a bit of an average or a median. And this is very specific because maybe other social media have something similar but not the exact same. Percentage of watch full video is the percentage of viewers that have watched set video until the end and or watched. So it's not really completion rate, because usually completion rate on certain platforms is the percentage of the video watched or something like that. So it's the video is in focus, and here is the amount of viewers. And this really can make you understand whether you should change something in the rather scripting and production strategy. Because if you constantly see that maybe people don't finish your video or arrive to a certain point and then drop out, are your videos too long? Should you reconsider the length? Is the beginning not hooky enough? Do you have an intro that you can maybe move or just delete? Do you have b-rolls? And b-rolls are just maybe good for branding, but also make you waste some important seconds where people scroll past because they're like, the video is over, but the truth is not really over, so they haven't watched until the end. So I think it's a good metric to definitely check your own strategy and rework, change something. Last metric that is getting more and more important nowadays is at the very end of your analytics, the source of viewers. In the past, you would say that almost 100%, let's say 90 something, not to be so absolute, of viewers were coming from the For You feed, the regular feed where TikTok recommend videos based on your own personal account. Now you see that search is getting higher and higher there. And sometimes with videos that perform particularly well, you see a high percentage of search, and even the search queries, the words that people typed in order to find your videos. That also makes you work more and more on your SEO. Because if you know that the performance of the video itself can depend on whether people find your video within the search section on TikTok, then you change accordingly.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this insight. In terms of audience engagement, we know that retaining audience is one of the biggest challenge on TikTok with this never-ending feed and the hooks and the algorithm itself. So what would you say in your experience are the best way to keep audience engaged?
I'd say two different methods based on which audience you want to keep engaged. Because if you see again your viewers, most of the times the majority of viewers of each single video are new viewers, viewers that are seeing your video for the very first time or have come across your account for the very first time. And these should be viewers that are engaged in a different way than your community, because those that already maybe follow you, maybe not, but encounter your videos often. So for the new viewers, I believe in a way you should behave with topics, choosing the right topics that maybe are trending in your region, trending on TikTok itself, big current affairs, politics, newsy topics, depending also on maybe your own themes and your publications landscape, so that you can find more and more and more new viewers. And then when you get these new viewers, thanks to these topics, to the searches, then within the videos, definitely having a hook. If a video is longer, maybe a rehook, so people really keep the attention high, helps, because the infinite scrolling is very easy to make you lose the potential audience, or this is not something that interests me, let me get over it, or this is too long, let me get over it. So curiosity or a intriguing question, and then as the video progress, you just lay down all the points of your topic or of the fact itself, interesting footage, and leave some space to potential debate in the comments, do community management. So the video doesn't end when the seconds reach 00. The video continues, at least the idea of the video, in the topic section where maybe people have further questions. Can you answer? Can you answer with a video? Can you manage the conversation in a way that it's safe, that no one is in danger, no one is harassed, but it's just a healthy debate?
Would you say that this practice would be different for younger and older audiences who consume news on TikTok? Because we saw very interesting trends according to Reuters Institute this year that while younger audience is still the biggest consumer of short content on TikTok, older audiences tend to increasingly watch vertical videos as well. So would you say there are different strategies for younger and older audiences, and what are the strategies that publishers can implement?
Definitely a main strategy would be the way you present a video. Not only in the format itself, we see that younger audiences prefer a presenter on screen, a host they can identify with. So generally speaking, maybe younger, and not the classic host, news presenter, suit and tie in a studio, but maybe someone that is more casual, that speaks the language, the memes, depending on the topic, that is not in the office, in the streets, in their own house, or things like that. And an older audience on TikTok that is increasingly on TikTok still expect somehow more professional, maybe can be in the street but with a regular microphone rather than the clip on. I always see these debates. Does he need to hold the microphone like that in the head, the tiny mic? That's distracting. And then, no, that's funny, no, that's something like that. And then the language with which you speak, and things that maybe are a bit for granted on certain audiences, and things that are need a bit more in-depth explanation with younger audience, maybe because they have not experienced this past event, or they haven't, it's not something you study. At the same time, you cannot be sure who you are reaching, because you publish the video. It's not like you are targeting only people from 14 to 18 are able to see this, or whatever. You also don't know, I don't know, I guess there will be younger audiences checking videos from the accounts of their parents or someone else's relative. There might be teachers showing videos if they have a educational purpose in classes. So I think a healthy mix of everything in your account, unless you want to target a specific account more homogeneously. It's like, no, mine is a young adults oriented account, and then everything has the same more or less style. A healthy mix of various strategy can then help you have as bigger audience in terms of age demographics as possible.
If we're talking about hard content only, hard news specifically, would you say there are some specific ways of how to convert those hard news that we see on the website into the video that people will finish and think about after?
Definitely, you have to be careful with the footage shown, because the guidelines of TikTok are quite strict. Also, when you are a media organization, still certain footage cannot be shown unpixelated, or just blood, victims, excessive violence, and weapons, and things like that. So there's already a layer on preparation, how you present this video. Then, more and more in the last few years, I've seen how current affairs and hard news are indeed driving TikTok views. People are actively looking forward to having latest updates or just explanations or certain hard news, facts, events, geopolitical situation on this platform itself. So just don't underestimate the potential interest, and don't just think then TikTok is just a light-hearted culture and lifestyle. There is that aspect. There is also the harder news aspect. So the first step would be, for certain maybe media still hesitant, do act, do publish these. But when you publish these, careful with the footage that you choose, and even act in a way that there are some features now, like you can add link in your stories similar to the Instagram regular features. I don't know if it's rolled out in the whole world, whole market, but most of the countries I've seen at DW, our accounts have it. So I assume yes. And you can say if you want to know more, then you can read it on our website, or I don't know, a newsletter, or your own product where you can show everything. So my suggestion for a strategy would be just go in with the hard news and check the searches. The search queries are very important because really within sometimes a few hours from something happening, you see that people are searching on TikTok, whatever incident in XYZ city. You say, okay, oh, there is interest. Can I publish something now?
Also, we wanted to ask you in terms of community engagement on TikTok, because TikTok is very famous for its community, different cores, aesthetics. So people kind of select their community there and stick to that. So how can publishers use these trends to build a community, and how can they later interact with this community?
That's an interesting question. I think, first of all, publishers should not force their hands into joining the trends at all costs because they might feel unnatural for them. So, is there a way you can find your own language while mixing or engaging or trying to use the language of certain communities that were born quite naturally on TikTok, thinking of food talk, book talk, queer talk, and etc. Can you do that without being cringy? Or if you are being cringy, then you are doing it as self irony and not as, oh, I want to be like, hello, fellow kids. And then also trying to study these communities. Maybe you can interview your members or prominent members of this community. Sometimes you can even go back to who invented or started these trends and these communities, or even investigate more. I don't know, there's a popular book on the book talk side, and it's a book that is not new, has been published for years. We see a lot of these trends with songs, with movies, with books that come back into fashion thanks to a single TikTok trend. Then can you go back and maybe find out more about this book, about the author? Can you interview the author? Make it feel like it's seamlessly integrated into your strategy. And then you're just part of it by being with this topic on TikTok.
That's a great advice. Thank you. And the last question we have, it considers the AI. With the rise of AI, we see lots of AI slopes and impersonification on TikTok. So how do you think people can distinguish real content from AI generated one? And what should publishers do in order to protect its own content?
Absolutely interesting and important issue. So, first of all, it goes without saying when publishers do have AI integrated in any of their videos or content published there, there's an easy enable label within the setting so that you are transparent. Be 100% transparent with your users when you are using indeed AI. You can even explain why sometimes AI is used to, I don't know, recreate a location where you cannot visit, or each media organization, I'm pretty sure they so far have their own internal AI guidelines. Then again, if instead you find AI reenactment of your own content, then you can report this directly in the app on the website version. So proactively be proactive in searching and reporting this type of content so that it can be taken down. If you see some trends emerging of people using AI malicious ways in order to spread misinformation and disinformation, then you can even do researches. I'm now not remembering which media outlet, if I'm not wrong, it was a British one, but I don't remember the account, researched this popular historical account where it was like reenacting historical events. I don't know, the French Revolution start or things like that, with AI, and putting an AI character into these videos. It was clearly marked AI, but then check, are they spreading good information or not? Can you find who is behind it? Is this thing being monetized or not? anything like that. So be part of the conversation. I think, again, just like with the trends, you don't need to necessarily chime in as with your own content, but being part of the conversation can also be just researching, being aware that this is a phenomenon. Like right now, this AI fruit stories that me personally I found a bit weird and cringy, but I understand I'm not the target audience, so I cannot really comment on that. And then try to find even what's the interest. If there's so much slop that is gaining numbers, people are indeed watching. Because me, when I come across one of those videos, I scroll past. But that is me. That is my decision. If these videos have lots of views, means that a lot of users are indeed watching and are staying throughout the whole video, watching a few parts or whatever is the format. So, is there anything there we as media can learn from that?
Great. Thank you so much, Erica, once again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to us. Make sure you follow us on all of our platforms and stay tuned to our new episodes.